Hey there friends, it's Kate and welcome back to my channel, Golden State Educate. I am a 5th year, 2nd grade teacher here in Northern California, and welcome to my classroom setup. So if you didn't already see it, last year at the end of the year, I posted a classroom tour, and it was very real end of the year realness with all the kids' stuff out, everything out, and that was just what it was looking like at the time. And I got a lot of questions about kind of how I set my classroom up. I have filmed several classroom setup videos in the same classroom. This will be my 4th year teaching in this room. So it's generally going to be a very similar layout. I was actually here a couple days ago and I tried to kind of like configure things a little bit differently. But I think like since I have the same furniture and I'm in the same room, I kind of know the layout that already works for this space. So if there's any clips that I tried to record a few days ago, I'll put those in now. But it was basically me attempting to move my desks in a different configuration and then ending up with the same one that I've had for the last couple of years. So that's where we're at right now. I have a few things that I am hoping to kind of maybe change, and I'll take you through what I'm thinking for that thought process. So since my desks are set up, I'll spin you around, kind of show you what that's looking like, and then we'll really get started. Luckily, my school lets us keep everything up on the walls. Obviously, you can see that. We have to take everything from the whiteboard down, and then they wax our floors, but I only have like this much tile. It's really small. And then they also clean our carpets. So it's feeling really clean in here. The only thing that we have to do is we have to take like everything from around our classroom and fit it inside of this closet. So I have quite a bit of things in that closet that I also need to take out. My goal is to kind of get my desks set up. And then I also, forgot about the microphone. I want to show you my desk setup. And then I also want to take everything out of my car. I want to set up my front board today for sure, reset up my library, set up my student center that you guys are sitting on right now. And yeah, we'll see what we get into. Here she is. I got this carpet. It's a 7.5 by 12. And it has 24 little circle dots. So that's where the kids will sit. And it fits really nicely in this space. This is where I had all of those carpet dots. So it's a little bit more of like a designated space. It adds a lot to the room. And I'm really like not purchasing things for my classroom anymore. It pretty much looks the way that I want it to. So I used a bunch of Amazon gift cards to get this one. And I'm really excited. I'm gonna need to get some like stacks of books put on the corners. But let's see what it looks like up close. Okay, so I just did all of those clips without the microphone on, so it probably sounds like I'm like weirdly far away. But we are working with our new technology. So there's definitely quite a bit of like fuzzies on it. So maybe my custodians can come vacuum it, or I'll come bring my vacuum from home. They will have their assigned spot. And then I definitely want to get some like carpet tape, or like Velcro or something, so I can stick this carpet onto the carpet underneath it, just so that way it doesn't like move. I can definitely picture like with kids walking on it, it will like move quite a bit. So I'm gonna find some books just to kind of like flatten it out. Oh, actually, binders, perfect. I will flatten these out, and then once it's all flat, I'll be able to put these books and binders back in like my teaching area, but I don't need that to happen right now. And then after this, maybe I will start setting up my front board again, while I continue to think about this board. While I do this, we can talk about that board. So ever since I moved into this classroom, I knew that I wanted to have this like anchor chart wall set up. First, it's been through it. I probably need some new paper, but I just don't know if I have it in me to hang new paper. We'll see. But I've mostly used it for the reading and the math. A lot of the writing anchor charts that I've made are mostly like posters because it's just information for the kids. They're not really helping make it too much. And a lot of times when I'm teaching, the kids are sitting right here, so they can't even see the writing poster or anchor chart anyway. So I end up moving it to this spot on the front board. If you can see this spot right here, I always move it right here. So what I'm thinking is I actually might change up this one. Like I said, I use the reading a lot and I use the math a lot, but the writing doesn't get used. And we also are getting Amplify Core Knowledge as our reading curriculum. I like it, but I also definitely want to supplement with other reading things that I've used over the last few years. So what I'm thinking is, because the Amplify curriculum is super social studies based, I think I might also use it to like supplement our social studies curriculum. And I've been using a lot of social studies things on that spot anyways, because we've been doing social studies with writing. So I'm thinking I might do reading, math, and then a social studies board. So I would need new headers because I definitely wanted to say reading, math, and then social studies. I don't even know if social and studies would probably fit, but I might need to make it a smaller font. So I'll see if I have more brown paper if I want to repaper this wall. That sounds like a lot of work, but maybe I'll want to do it because it has bothered me after 3 years of like putting charts up and taking charts down. It's definitely gotten weathered. So I might do more paper, and I might relabel these. And then I also want to fix my number line because we actually got all new windows over the summer. So all of these windows are new, my windows up there are new, and then these windows are new. And whatever setup they had, like they kind of started moving a lot while the window people were here. So I definitely want to straighten those out as well. All right. Hi, guys. It's been, I don't actually know, maybe like an hour. And I have done quite a bit of setting up and also quite a bit of thinking. So I basically set up my whole front board, again, literally the same as last year. This has worked out really well for us. Our district requires us to put our learning objectives, so that's what this section will be. And as we go through math and as we go through reading, that will get, I will post those up there. And then I also did finish mostly setting up my student center. So you saw that. It's really not that big. It's pretty much just like this little section. And then I kind of put some of my like printer and printer paper setup back together. I was going to get started on my teacher area, but I realized that if I want to add new words or new titles for any of my bulletin boards, that I'm going to need to print those, cut, laminate, and like spray them so that way they're not shiny. And that's definitely going to take quite a bit of time. So I do need to decide if I want to change these. And then for this wall, we're doing a big phonics and grammar focus this year. So this is going to be my language wall. I'll have a link below to Hello Fifth. She designed the language wall. I bought the language wall, and she has blogs about like what the language wall is. Once the year starts, I'll have vlogs about it. Well, it'll be in my vlogs, but if you want to see what the language wall is, it's basically interactive. So I want to put the words language wall up there. So I definitely need to make those, print, laminate, cut, spray paint those. So I have reading, I have math, I have my language wall that's slightly smaller so that way it can fit up here. And then I also have ELA/social studies. I'm thinking that with some of the phonics stuff, I can put it in the reading section, so that'll be kind of fluid. And then technically, we're using Amplify as our ELA curriculum. So if I just put it under social studies and people from my district came, I feel like they would be confused. So this can be just like super fluid as a title, because it could be social studies, it could be ELA, it could be reading, it could be like core knowledge stuff. And then reading could be reading, or it could be phonics or other reading things. So sticking with reading, math is going to be the same, social studies / ELA, and then my language wall. So my goal is, now that I printed those out, I'm going to laminate them, I'm going to spray them. And while they are like resting with the non-glare spray, I will, I think, try to hang up this more this bulletin board paper. I'm really scared, you guys, to be honest, and I hope I have enough of this. But I think I'm going to be smarter about it this time, about how I go about putting it up, because underneath here, I just have like the entire wall is covered, and then I put the borders on around it. But I think this time I'm just going to try to cut it perfectly to fit underneath the borders. So all it'll need is like a few staples, and I won't need to take the borders down. We'll see. After that, the goal is the library. Oh my gosh, you guys, this was not the best choice. There's way better things I could be doing today. But here we are. So I had a really hard time. Basically, when I took the words off, they're like still like, you know, whatever, a version of the words is still stuck on the paper. Yeah, this is not, I had a feeling it would be hard, but I think I might need to enlist some reinforcement help tomorrow, because I just cannot keep it shoved up there without it coming out. Mostly set it up, but then this is the part that I was kind of stumped on. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to organize it. Right now, books that I have like sets of or multiple of, I have in these yellow buckets. These yellow baskets are from Hobby Lobby. They're part of the spring collection a few years ago. I haven't seen this color in a while, but I ended up getting like 19 of them. So they're pretty interchangeable because I put just like the labels on them, so I can change out the labels. Anyways, all that to say, I have all of these books that I'm not exactly sure where I want them to go. The last few years, I've had these big buckets of fiction books in this smaller bookshelf that only has 2 shelves. And I've had the fiction stacked next to each other, and that worked out really nicely. But I have now acquired quite a bit of graphic novels, so I thought it looked kind of nice to have a graphic novel shelf. But the problem is, let me move you closer, the problem is the bins don't really fit right here as well. I have like all this random extra space, so I don't really know if this is going to work as a graphic novel shelf. I put the fiction books in this white bucket that I got. I saw these at Michael's and I thought that might work, but the problem is I can fit those books, and then I can fit like 2 of these blue bins, but it just doesn't look very clean. It's just kind of like shoved in there, and all of these books being on display is a little bit off-putting to me. So now I'm thinking I might just return these white bins, go back to my original setup. I could potentially do like a graphic novel dedicated larger shelf, because I have 9 of them fit, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I could do like 7, 8, and then 9. I could do that. Let me see what that looks like. Okay, here is the new setup. at least what I'm thinking is going to be the new setup. I have changed all of them. I have 27 of these yellow buckets, but I got them on sale. So this is basically all graphic novels. This is like miscellaneous chapter books, but also miscellaneous graphic novels. So I might change that label. And then I have to add labels for these 3, but I think this looks really nice. And then this one, I just kind of liked that this paralleled this with the blue on the bottom and the white on the top. It does look a little bit top heavy, but I think I'm also used to these buckets being on the bottom. I might switch those, but for now, I think I'll stick with this. The books that the kids seemed to reach for the most in these were animals, biographies, I'll have to switch these, science, nature, space books, and then these are all like feelings and emotions kind of books. And choices, and they really liked these as well. So I want these to kind of be like central on display. And then again, I can switch these if it feels like this is just too much. I had tried to put the books in here, but I think it just looks a little bit cleaner when they're like covered up. Right here obviously will be my book display. I might try to like scrub it with a magic eraser because it's very dingy. I think it looks really good. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I did end up changing my book return to this white bin instead of this blue one, but I do kind of miss like the pop of color up there, but this one is honestly disgusting, so I might try to wash it. And this book return label has yellowed so badly, so I'll need to make a new one of those. But this section is pretty much complete. My calm corner, I was considering changing these because a lot of the paper is also yellowed, but it doesn't bother me enough to warrant actually changing it. And then the jobs, I'll add their numbers once they get here and once we pick our jobs. This is kind of a potential work in progress. I don't know if I'm going to change it yet, but it's certainly not like a super high priority to change it. We are back for another day of classroom setup, and hopefully the last day of classroom setup, because realistically it's pretty much good to go. I came in and saw my rug and was so happy. You guys, I'm obsessed with it. I think it looks so good. And then I looked up and I saw the wall of terror and I was sad, but we have plenty of time. It's 9 o'clock right now. And I just have a few classroom things that I want to do. I need to find my custodians because I have some questions for them. And then I just have like a lot of like organizational things that I'm hoping to get done after this wall is conquered. So I guess we will just jump into it. My library, I found my tapestry and my library is ready to go. I printed out more labels, so I just have to get those laminated and put on. And then what else did I do? I print, cut, laminate, sprayed these headings. So those will be ready to go today once the paper is up, obviously. And then I also ended up printing, laminating, and cutting my language wall words. So I'm going to get these up right now. I'm thinking I might wait and see if a friend can come help me with this bulletin board situation, but she is not at school yet. So maybe I'll try to tackle it myself in the meantime, but I'm hoping to not have to talk too much today because I have some talking clips from yesterday. So I'm going to set you guys up, get this party started, and then talk to you in a little bit. Okay, the language wall title is up. It actually looks really good on camera, but not too great up close. Some of the lamination peeled off on the W, and the A got kind of messed up and the G got kind of messed up. So I might go back and like print the A, W, and G and then do the whole process again for them. But it doesn't look bad from far away. So I might even just leave it. I put these right here because I do have a bundle of like grammar mini posters that I'll like change out based on like whatever the sentences that we're working on that week. So those will be like our targeted grammar skills. Now I'm actually thinking about it. I could potentially put those over on this chunk because that's kind of like an unused chunk of my little wall space. I wanted them to try and mirror the Our Learning as much as possible. I was also kind of considering putting another strip of border on that crack just to break that section up, but I kind of like having a larger section since these are really segmented out. Um, but yeah, that's what that's looking like. All right, guys. So I'm gonna tackle the wall. I have these two chunks of paper, but they're actually, I know it looks like they're the same shade. This one is slightly lighter than this one. So this is the one that I hung up yesterday because I had more of it, but neither of those will be enough to cover these walls. So when I did my Target order pickup, I got the big, what is it? Postal Wrap Craft Paper 75 feet. This is what I used to cover this wall several years ago. And you can tell like it was darker and then it faded. I really like the faded color. I didn't realize how dark this one was. However, it is slightly lighter than the paper that I put up yesterday. So I think I'm just going to try my best. I honestly might take some of the border down because I know my logic is the border is pre-cut and I know where it will go back, like on the chunk of wall. So I don't know if it sounds crazy to take all the borders off and then put them back on. That seems like a lot of work, but I also feel like I'm wasting time trying to shove it under there, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna do a few things to maybe problem solve. I also think my plan is to like measure it out and then cut several of these all at once so they're all ready to go. It's unfortunate that this is not slightly longer because I'm missing this chunk. But yeah, I'm trying to tell myself that if I take the borders off, when I put them back up, they'll still look really good. I also found that I still have a few pieces of this border. However, wow. So the problem is that border is really yellow, like really yellow. So I have several new pieces of it, but in comparison, these pieces are like crisp white, and that has yellowed so terribly much. I don't know, guys. I cannot go to Lakeshore today. That going to Lakeshore for new borders sounds crazy. All right, so it's up. It's one of those things where normally like hanging bulletin boards is really satisfying because it's hard, but then it looks great. But it looks the same. Like it looks the same as it did before. It's a brown wall. I wish you could see just how many staples are in the ground. Oh my gosh. Here is the aftermath. But it's all refreshed. It really looks so good. It looks so much more wrinkly on the camera than it does in person. But I just can't believe how dingy the old one was. Like this one is honestly so brown and yellow compared to the fresh new one. And also, like, you know, this is my main area. Like kids spend a lot of time here. So after 3 years, they had crashed into the wall, ripped things. And oh my gosh, it looks so good. Okay, so last thing. All right, guys, it's been a productive hour. I didn't vlog because my phone was dying and a couple friends came over to say hi, but I hung up all of the titles. I honestly love them so much. I feel like for some reason they like pop more than the read, the math, and the write did, but I think that might just be because I was like used to seeing those. I finished labeling my classroom library, and I moved some things around. So, not sure what happened to the audio here, but I moved some things around. I need to change out that book return because it got very yellow. This is going to be my graphic novel shelf. They all fit really nicely on here with the new labels. And then for this shelf, I decided to switch it around and put the fiction bins at the bottom because they were just really, really heavy. So putting them on the top made it really heavy for me to take them down, and I know it will be for the kids. These are just my miscellaneous chapter books, so books that I didn't have enough to really make a series bin. Those will just go right there. And then this is my bin of just extra graphic novels that I don't have enough for a series bin of as well. Over here, it looks very much the same, still really loving that. And then I hung up my tapestry and need to put my book display up. It's 3:30, so I'm gonna get out of here. Tomorrow is our first full day of like PD and trainings and socializing and all of that. So any other like classroom things that I have will either have to wait until the end of the day, or we'll see if we have any like free time tomorrow during PD, but normally the first day of PD is like jam-packed. I would really like to not have to come over the weekend, so I think we'll see what I can get done between PDs kind of, but I'm feeling really good about the space as a whole. There's still quite a bit of things that I want to like kind of finish up or do some like prep, like putting folders together, putting labels on folders, all of those kind of things. But again, I think I'm gonna film like a classroom prep vlog, just getting everything like set up for the first day of school. And then the video after this will be first week of school plan with me. I'm really excited about that.